Hiya, welcome to Lesson 6 on the 3Ps Digital Literacy Programme. This is Sarah. This week we're talking about podcasting. As you can see, this week we're using a podcast for the first part of this lesson. We'll be talking about what podcasts are and what you'd need and some suggestions for what to record. So first, what is a podcast? Well, it's an uploaded MP3 file made for download. Where can you find these? Well, there are many online services that make podcasts available, such as iTunes, Spotify, even online radio. So what do you need to make a podcast? As we were talking about with making videos, you can either do a simpler podcast or you can do something that is higher quality, which involves greater expense and greater experience. So for one of those higher quality podcasts, you need something like a studio, high quality microphone, an audio mixer, and fancy editing software. But for us, we're trying to keep things simple, and we encourage you to do the same, because you can always build on your skills later, but right now it's about trying to make content that people can easily access. So for making a podcast like that, all you need is some sort of recording device, such as a laptop or a mobile, and free software such as Audacity, which is what this is being recorded on and what we'll be talking about next time. So, now that you know what a podcast is, what sort of things can you record on a podcast? So, again, you can look at some of the podcasts that they have on some of those sites we listed above, iTunes, Spotify, the radio, and see what sort of podcasts, what sort of topics they look at. Now, Christian podcasting has recently really exploded on these sites, and you can look at them and see what sort of content they have. So things like Christian living, meditations on the scripture, on church history, on reacting to present events, all sorts of things. But you might say to yourself, that takes a lot of time and a lot of sitting down and writing a script and all that. And I don't have that time. I don't have that experience. So there are some other things that you can do that you might already be doing in your parish already, and all it takes is really recording it. So some of these things, first and foremost, would be recording the homilies. So all you need to do is to give your priest a recording device, have him press go, and then have him press stop when the sermon is finished, and that's it. You have a podcast episode that's about Christian living and scripture, and you can make it available to people. Another thing that you might already be doing is the parish announcements. So again, just give them a recording device to turn on and off when they're saying the announcements, and then you have an update for people who want to see what's going on during the week. Another thing that might be a little strange sounding, but is something that you can also do, is recording some of the prayer services that you have. So if you're doing the rosary or the Jesus prayer or a song service, anything like that, where people might want to go and to be able to do it in a group, but they might not actually be able to make it out into the parish. So doing that is a way for them to feel connected with the larger church community. Another thing that you can do is daily scripture reading. So if you're having something like daily mass, you can simply record people reading those. Or if you want, you can record them separately, and maybe you can include a meditation on the scripture if you have the time or the inclination. Similarly, you can do readings from spiritual classics. Now again, you want to be careful with copyright, making sure that you're not infringing on anyone's intellectual property. So what you could do is look at works that are in the public domain, such as works by the Church Fathers or the Reformers or something like that. And a lot of those texts in the public domain are available online. So now that you have some ideas of what you could conceivably record, what are some tips for actually making a podcast recording? So again, as I say, all you need is a mobile or a computer to make a recording. You can use background music, as we've used here. Again, be careful of copyright, but there's a site called the Free Music Archive where you can easily download music that's free in the public domain and put it on your podcast. Now, you don't want to go overboard with sound effects. It's very easy to get really enthusiastic about it and end up drowning out the content that you have. Remember that these are just secondary things that you put next to your content to make it sound more pleasing. Don't let it be the main focus. And finally, some tips for how to actually record. Make sure to stay still in wherever you're sitting, because if you move too close or too far from the microphone, it will make a difference in the sound. So as you can see, going further away and then coming close, it makes a big difference in the sound. Similarly, like we were saying with the videos, try to keep the length reasonable. Try to use your natural voice. Don't make it sound like you're just reading off of a piece of paper, even if you were. Try to keep it natural. Try to be relaxed and calm. Maybe sit in a comfortable chair in a place that you're comfortable, and just make it fun. And finally, again, don't put pressure on yourself to make it perfect. You're trying to be casual, be relatable. So if you do make a mistake in the podcast, as often happens, even here I'm sure I've stuttered or left a second too long or anything like that, don't worry about it, and don't record unless there's something major that's happened, such as there's a fire in the church where you're recording or something. But besides that, just relax and keep going. It's fine. Now that we've looked at where to find podcasts, what materials you'll need, and what to record, click on the video below to find out how to use Audacity and Spreaker to edit podcasts and publish them.